Hello, I'm Kevin Church, and for March 2021, we have Steve Allen with us as our MUFIC Songwriter of the Month. How are you, Steve?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Nice to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, we normally ask folks if they come from a musical background, like from a musical family. What got you into music?
Well, I started out really early. I actually started singing in front of people before I was in first grade, and I my dad was musical. He played the trumpet and things like that. My mom said that she played the best phonograph of anyone around. I grew up in Iowa,
Okay.
and there was a show on local or regional TV that called Bill Riley's Talent Search, and I actually sang on that and went on a tour with them when I was in right about in first grade.
Wow,
And everything.
man.
Yeah, but and then I went up through the classical things. I played classical instruments and things like that, and actually ended up playing with my dad in the city symphony before I left town. So I'm sorry, I won't play with it anymore. I gotta sit still here.
We'll keep you safe.
Yeah.
This is a safe space.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
You want gloves?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll learn. It only takes a couple of times to learn.
Would you like handcuffs?
I can be trained.
But seriously, like, got you. So you're mentioning symphony now. So your father played too?
Yeah. My dad played trumpet, and I actually played oboe in the town, the city symphony back at Fort Dodge, Iowa. And then, it wasn't until I went to college that I traded my oboe in for my first guitar.
Really?
So, and then went down the dark path.
I hear you. So when you started playing guitar, you were already in college. That's when you started.
Yeah. The when I first started playing in bands, I was actually a bass player,
Okay.
and that was mostly because nobody else wanted to play bass.
Well, other than that, you had a classical ear too, so you understood what the bass meant, what that instrument
Yeah, I suppose.
is supposed to do.
Yeah,
It's meant for.
yeah, but I mean, I enjoyed playing bass. I still enjoy playing bass. I play bass whenever I get the chance to, which isn't very often anymore. But I'm still fair at it. Bass is one of those things where it's not too hard to get to be pretty good. It's really hard to get to be really good, and
Right.
I'm still at the pretty good stage.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, what got you into songwriting then? Like when you were in college, playing in bands, you're playing bass. So when did the lyrics start to flow out?
Well, pretty much right away. The thing about it was that I think as people grow in anything that they're doing and everything, you start out and you want to exercise what you can do at whatever level you can do it at. And that's kind of where it came out of, is that when I first started playing guitar, I wasn't very good, but I could do a few things, so there aren't a lot of songs where you can do just a few things. So you make up some songs where you use the things that you know how to do, and so it kind of helps in your progression a little bit. But then, of course, like I grew up trying to sound like James Taylor,
Okay.
and I mean, he was kind of my mentor. He doesn't know that, of course, but he would probably deny it if he ever heard that.
I don't know, man. You might watch the show and say, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I know I spent an awful lot of time trying to sound like James Taylor. So, And in fact, I still do. I still love all that stuff. Of course, I like, all the way across the board. As long as there's a melody, we'll put a limit on that. You really kind of need a melody for it to be a song, is for me. But so yeah, and so it kind of grew out of that. I just kept doing it. I've got some songs that I still do that I wrote. I'm embarrassed to say this, but 40 years ago. And I've got some that I wrote last month.
Right.
So, it just keeps on going. And it's kind of your filing system, too. It's the ones that you forget are the ones that are forgettable. So
That's very
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, okay, so the song you're going to do for us today, but before I get into that, let me ask you one more thing. The way that you come, your writing process, if you will. You like melody. You appreciate James Taylor. You appreciate the chord changes and stuff. So, do the lyrics flow from the riff with you and the playing and the melody in your head, or is it something you write and then you go back and add that melody and the technique?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, everything that, like when you're trying to come up with something, really what you're looking for is some kind of hook, And as I was growing up, because of the way I grew up, I always started off with people recognizing me as a singer. And I always wanted them to recognize me as a guitar player.
Right.
They still don't. But I always wanted to be that guitar player, and so I think that as I'm trying to write something, the first thing I look for is a hook on the guitar. And sometimes that leads to a hook in the vocals and things like that. But, it's... I think that 9 times out of 10, I'm looking for that guitar hook or that something that makes it a little bit different, that you might be memorable or something.
I got you. And sometimes when you hit that guitar hook and you feel that at that moment, then that becomes part of the melody of the song, where it becomes a vocal hook too. Like you strengthen it by doing it again.
Yeah. I've gone back and I've written songs that sometimes I'm not particularly fond of the vocals or one particular part of it. And, it's kind of funny that, they kind of get locked in, and especially once the guitar part is locked in, it's very hard for me to change that down the road, even if I'm not particularly happy with the way it went. If I go back and I change something and everything, it always goes back to the way it was first. So, it's kind of funny. I think sometimes they just have a life of their own. All you're trying to do is get out of the way.
That's a very good statement. I mean, that's it. It's just be an observer and the person who's going to deliver the song, let the song live. That's pretty cool. So, what song are you playing for us today? What's the name of it?
It's called Washed Away.
All right. Tell us about that.
Well, it's one of those things, it's one of those songs of, like a bad boy redemption. Guy lived a bad life and he's saved by a good woman. And there's kind of 2 parts about it, really. That appeal to me. And one of them is everybody wants to be that bad boy, that needs redemption. Everybody wants to be that guy, maybe not forever, but, you would like to have that rep, that guy's dick. He's bad, And then the other side of it is that everybody would like to think that they could find a woman that could redeem him. So it's both of those things together. You got the bad guy, but now he can see that this person here could make him a better person. At least least there's hope. And that's one of the things I like about it, especially in this last EP that I've been working on. It's like the last 7 songs that I put on this EP. There's one of them that it's a little bit critical of things that need to be criticized, but a lot of them are trying to be very hopeful and very positive, because, I mean, geez, there's enough non-positive stuff out there right now. That's not exactly what we need.
Right. Understood. So, well, we look forward to playing on it with you. Have Karen Egan with us today.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Steve Allen, everybody.
A complicated man who's got so much to answer for. I live my life apart with the devil at my door. Looking back, I know of the 1,000 tears I've cried. I've caused 1,000 more, but I've kept it all inside. But you laying with me now, and your hand is in my hand. The loneliness is gone, and I think I understand. Then there's heaven in your smile and healing in your touch. I'm praying you will stay, and forever not too much. Yesterday is gone, just like so many other days. But the sky is filled with hope as the moonlight fades away. So I'll stay here until dawn, trying not to break the spell of the moment that we found. But only time will tell. But you laying with me now, and your breath is on my skin. The only waking sound is a beating heart within. And if my soul is lost and there's nothing left to save, I pray that from your shores is where I'm washed away. Won't be long enough before the past will be growing near, bringing back the world I call my own. If I can only hold on until the morning light, I spend eternity dreaming of this night and you laying with me now, and your breath upon my skin. The only waking sound is a beating heart within. And if my soul is lost and there's nothing left to say. I pray that from your shores is where I'm washed away. And if my soul is lost and there's nothing left to save, I pray that from your shores is where I'm washed away.
MUFIC sets you free.